Premier League game week 31 is over, and if I'm going to be completely honest, the quality of football in the Premier League this last week has been pretty dead. I feel like most of the games this week could have been dead. The Manchester derby, dead. The Brentford Chelsea game, dead. I mean, Tottenham beat Southampton 3-1. There was 4 goals in the game, but let's be honest, wasn't the best football game in the world. Liverpool were atrocious in the first half, but they did create a few chances in the second half, and I'll give Rodrigo Muniz some credit. He did score a good goal, but I look at Premier League football over this week, the Everton game as well. And other than like Villa showing a bit of quality right now, I feel like the season, everyone kind of knows Liverpool's won. Everyone kind of knows the relegated teams are getting relegated. And Chelsea are in this top 4 race. Man City are in this top 4 race. They didn't look like it today, did they? But anyway, in today's video, we're first of all going to be reviewing Fulham 3, Liverpool 2. We'll then review Tottenham 3, Southampton 1. And then we're going to review Brentford 0, Chelsea 0. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on all of those games in one video because I don't really want to make 3 separate videos on 3 games that were meh, in my opinion. I already did a Forest Villa reaction on the other channel. I'm just going to say off the bat, though, to make a quick point. First of all, Bergvall. I told you about him. We're going to talk about him. Excellent. Second of all, I thought Tottenham were decent in the first half. Second half, they were poor. They're going to have to step up for Frankfurt. In regards to Liverpool, shocking defensive errors in the first half. Second half, a lot better. The subs made them a lot better. I will say, though, as much as I'd like to say Liverpool are the worst winners ever and overrated, because Liverpool have lost, there's the net, and they weren't great that first half. Everyone's coming out being like Liverpool are the worst winners ever. They're rubbish, they're rubbish, they're rubbish. And obviously it's been a lot easier for them because City haven't been good. Arsenal haven't been good. But they've only lost 2 games all season. It's not like they've won the league losing 10 games. They've lost 2 games. So as much as I'd like to give Liverpool stick, let's not use this loss and this bad performance versus Fulham to say they don't deserve to win. They're on track for 89 points still. That wins you the title most seasons. Sadly, Liverpool do deserve to win, and Maresca, I don't think, wanted to win versus Brentford with that lineup, and Caicedo is definitely Chelsea's best player. So this is how the top of the table looks, despite Liverpool losing. Arsenal drop points again. Every time Liverpool drop points, Arsenal drop points. Arsenal, if they could beat West Ham and Everton, maybe we'd have something going on these final games, but there's 8 points in it. It's still possible for Arsenal. They could put that gap to potentially, if they win, I think, was it 5 points? No, there's 11 points in it. There's 11 points in it. Why am I saying 8? There's 11 points in it. Yeah, it's Liverpool is still going to win unless they lose every game, because I don't think Arsenal are going to win every game. Forest look like they're going to cement that maybe top 4 position despite the loss. But it's interesting between Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle and City. I think Newcastle look most like for fall for this place at this point. Fulham are in there. So let's start by talking about Fulham 3, Liverpool 2. So now that Liverpool have lost, everybody's calling them poor, the worst winners ever. I'd love to slander Liverpool's title win, because they are basically going to win the title. But Van Dijk makes a mistake. The backers aren't good. All of a sudden, Van Dijk's overrated. All of a sudden, Liverpool are the worst winners ever. Man City and Arsenal not being good enough this season has made it a much easier title win for Liverpool. Liverpool's defence could not make those kind of mistakes if there was 1 point between the 3 people at the top of the league and this was a proper race. But this is Liverpool's second loss. This is their first away loss this season to a good Fulham side. If Liverpool had won the league losing 10 games, it is very different. But other than the Invincibles, who probably weren't even the best Premier League winners in my opinion, I think there's been a lot better teams than them, everyone's lost and won the Premier League. So I think people are just waiting because Liverpool just had a bit of a period where the exhaustion's got to them. I feel like because they're not feeling that pressure, they dropped off a bit. But in the second half, they did wake up and are trying to make out this narrative that Liverpool were rubbish and they're the worst Premier League winners ever. It's a pretty poor season. I mean, I'm a Manchester United fan. It's been a poor season. The quality in the Premier League's been poor. But the quality of the mid-table clubs in the Premier League has been really good. It's the top clubs that have been poor. And when the Fulhams are this good, the Bournemouths are this good, the other teams like Crystal Palace are looking really good lately, Newcastle, Villa, when the quality of the mid-table clubs is as good as it is and you're getting 89 points in the season, this Liverpool side is still good. Even though it's not complete, it still needs an improvement at left back, at striker, maybe another midfielder for depth, potentially another winger for depth. And the Trent replacement next season, they do deserve to win the league. We can't just say that. You can't just give Liverpool less credit because Arsenal and City haven't given them real competition. They have still been good, despite not being good today. Because Liverpool, for me, gifted Fulham all 3 goals. Maybe the third, not so much. Really good touch and finish by Muniz. I mean, that was probably the most quality thing we saw in the Premier League this weekend. It was clown defending from Liverpool. They could have done a lot better. And Fulham took the chance as well. And Liverpool gifted Fulham those opportunities. And I guess if it was one of those years where there's a point between them and City and it's a neck-and-neck race, you make those mistakes, that costs you. But Liverpool in a position where they can make mistakes, and they're still probably going to win the league. The first half from Liverpool was one of the worst I'd seen, because even though they were conceding, they weren't creating anything. They didn't look like scoring in the first half. It was just a Mac Allister worldie. I think that Salah's been a bit quieter lately, and I think with Liverpool, when Salah's quieter and he's not scoring or creating or making things happen, you notice actually how much goes through Salah, and I think other players need to step up. I know Gakpo's on the way back from injury. I thought Diaz did step up when he came off the bench, but they definitely need 2 attacking enforcements in the summer, and they're probably going to need to replace Robert and Trent, and then maybe another midfielder for depth, in my opinion. You could even say they never replaced Matip. They're quite thin at the back. That's one of the ways I look at it. I think Jota and Nunes will maybe go. This was Liverpool's first away defeat, and this doesn't mean Van Dijk's overrated or they're undeserved title contenders. I'd love to go along with that narrative. I support Man United, but I think there's just a bit of overreaction there. I thought the substitutes for the most part made Liverpool better. I don't think Nunes did loads, and I think it was a bit late to bring Chiesa on. I think he could have come on earlier, but I thought Diaz and Conor Bradley made the biggest impact. I thought they were brilliant, actually, when they came on. Harvey Elliott came close. I thought Conor Bradley was honestly like a man of the match cameo from what he did, the assist. Diaz brought the energy and the drive, constantly trying to make things happen. As I said, Bradley's key. With Trent out and potentially leaving the summer, in fact, 90% leaving the summer, you need Bradley to stay fit. You probably need to sign a right back anyway, but I think Bradley is a very, very good player, very capable player, and I think he brings a lot. He's just had issues staying fit. Harvey Elliott came close. He skied one, but he did hit the inside of the post. And Chiesa only getting 8 minutes is baffling when he did what he did at Wembley. And I think Slot really just doesn't like Chiesa. I think he's going to go. Continuing on, I think Liverpool need reinforcements this summer, despite winning the title. Striker, left back, right back if Trent goes. Matip, you never replaced Thiago, and I think Endo's great, but he doesn't seem to utilise Endo as much as he maybe could. Maybe a winger. When you looked at Kvaratskhelia and Anthony Gordon, it's clearly something Slot's looking at. I think if Jota and Nunes go and funds are raised, maybe. It's a difficult one because I think Liverpool, it just depends where they want to spend the funds. I think you need more forward options, because I don't think Salah next year is going to have the season he's had this year. I mean, it'd be crazy if he did with him aging and stuff, but and that's not to say he'll be poor next season. I think Salah will still be good next season, but to match this season is just different. But my man of the match for Liverpool was Conor Bradley. 23 minutes, 1 assist, 2 key passes, 1 big chance created, 2 duels won. Was driving with the ball well. Very exciting young player. Very, very much rate Conor Bradley. So let's dive into the Spurs game. And my honest thought on this was Tottenham were all right in the first half, but it was more that Southampton is just awful, to be honest. And then the second half, I thought Tottenham were meh. But Southampton are bad. Brennan Johnson was there when it counted, put the ball in the back of the net. Bergvall again, excellent performance from him. I said 2 days ago, Bergvall, and I tweeted it, is a £50 million player already. I said £50 million plus pound player already, and people were saying, you idiot, Bergvall's not a £50 million player. Tottenham fans, tell me, Bergvall is worth more than £50 million to you because he is your best midfielder. He's 19 years of age, he's putting in those kind of performances for Tottenham. Yeah, apparently people having a go at me saying I'm wrong for saying that Bergvall's a £50 million plus player already. Enzo Fernandez was £100 million off a good World Cup playing in Portugal. Bergvall could easily a £50 million plus player. I thought he was outstanding. I mean, I wouldn't say 10 out of 10 performance. I think had he got the goal, and it being Southampton. But what I mean is, like, for his age, he's putting in like 8, 9, 10 out of 10 performances. I think if his goal had counted, if it was hard opposition, you could give him a 10 out of 10. I think him and Jed Spence have been Tottenham's best players the last few months. Brennan Johnson, more goals for him, gets in good positions, takes his chance as well. I know he doesn't offer loads outside of goals, but he gets way too much stick. I think Brennan Johnson, I think his best role is a super sub. If you get quality players in where Brennan Johnson's on the sub bench and you just need a goal and you need someone to come and make that impact, that's probably what Brennan Johnson's best role would be. I don't think he's good enough to start for Tottenham if you want to get to the top, but I think he gets too much stick, way too much stick, when I could name about 5, 6 players at Tottenham that would need to go before him and make a lot less impact than him. I think Bergvall, was a shame that his goal was ruled out. Also, 5 minutes to rule out a goal. VAR, Absolute joke, taking 5 minutes to rule out a goal, isn't it? Absolute joke. Yeah, and as I said about Bergvall, worth more than 50 million, I will stick for it. I will say this, I was surprised Archie Gray didn't start, considering how good he's been when given minutes. I don't think Benson has been great, so you could have put Archie Gray in midfield. I think he was better today, though, obviously. I do feel for Sel. It's Southampton at home. He's obviously not going to play against Frankfurt. Well, he might. I might be wrong, but considering Ange can't give him 2 minutes off, Ange is only giving him 2 to 5 minutes off the bench. I don't think he's going to start him versus Frankfurt. And with Son, when he starts 2 games in a row, he's always poorer. But if you give Son that rest, he always looks fresher, and you want Son fresh for the Frankfurt game. So I would have started Teo left wing because he's better at left wing than striker. Or look, brought Solanke off earlier because he wasn't involved in the game. So I feel sorry for Teo. I know he's not been brilliant, but he's not been used in his best role by Ange. And I think that, maybe Tell could have played particularly be more refreshed for Frankfurt. That is your biggest game of the season. That is the only thing left in your season. Because I don't think he's going to start on Thursday. I'd like to see Tell given a proper run at left wing, and today could have been the day to rest on. It's Southampton, so I would criticise Ange for that. I thought Tottenham in the first half was solid. I thought you've done the job. You were clearly the better side, but the second half was just flat. It was just boring. I mean, I was lucky I had 3 games to watch. There wasn't really much in it, and I can see why fans are concerned. Even with a 3-1 win, it wasn't super convincing. Have you smashed Southampton 10-0 or 7-0 or 6-0, you can go into Frankfurt like, oh, we've got that. But even though you won, Man United beat Southampton 3-1, and Amad Diallo got a hat-trick in the last 15 minutes after going 1-0 down and us being atrocious. He bailed us out. It was not convincing as when we did it, and I think yours was a bit like that. Like, you did enough to win, you deserved to win, but it wasn't like, wow, that was amazing. I think the 3 points is all that matters. That gives you the boost. You're definitely going to stay up, and maybe that can give you a boost ahead of Thursday, but it wasn't the most convincing performance ahead of that big game on Thursday. I'm a big fan of Solanke. And I think he'd been over-criticised at the start of the season. I think he'd been good. I think he does a lot for Tottenham. I think he makes them better. But since he's come back from injury, I don't think he's fully ready. I don't think he's fully fit. I think he could have maybe come off. Maybe he needs to rest. He doesn't look there yet. He's struggled a bit since he's come back from injury and needs the service. I like Solanke. I think he's been a good signing. Then he got injured. Then he's been a bit meh. But I don't think he's fully ready, if I was going to be honest. But this is what I tweeted, and this tweet's got like over 400,000 views, and people are like giving me stick for it. So I said, less than 18 months ago, Villa got Rodgers for 11 million, Spurs signed Bergvall for 8.5 million, Bournemouth got Hoyson for 13 million, and Palace signed Wharton for 20 million. All of these are 50 million pound plus players. Like, Villa want 80 million for Rodgers, Wharton, Palace will want 70, 80 million for, Hoyson's got 50 million release clause. And like, if I'm Man United right now, I would chuck a 50 million bid on Bergvall, but I still think Tottenham would want 70, 80. Daniel Levy maybe 90, 100 million. Now, I'm not saying that Bergvall's worth 100 million. I'm not saying, we all know Tyler Dibbling is worth 100 million. But there was all the comments were like laughing that I put Bergvall in here. And Bergvall reminds me, not the same style-wise, because Bergvall's got different kind of legs when it comes to ground coverage. Man United were atrocious last season under Ten Hag, and Kobbie Mainoo, around December time, broke into the team. November time, actually, when he came back from injury. November, December, when he came back from injury, broke into the team, and he was just a level ahead of our other midfielders. Bruno was playing a bit centre forward at this point. Obviously, Bruno's a different level, but our team isn't good other than Bruno. And Kobbie Mainoo came in, he was a level ahead consistently. The games against Liverpool, the FA Cup final, the games against Manchester City, he was putting in these top performances. He's been injured this season, so he's not really played and struggled to stay fit. And we were talking to Raven about how good Kobbie Mainoo was. He then went to England with the Euros, started in the semi-final, was excellent, started in the final, wasn't as good in the final. And Kobbie Mainoo now is a player that most Man United fans would say 70, 80 million pound player based off the season he had last year and the fact that Enzo Fernandez was 100 million off, playing in Portugal for a decent World Cup. And, so I think that Bergvall being a 50 million pound player is a given. Like, I don't know why people are laughing at this, because he was excellent today. I know it's Southampton, but he's been Tottenham's best player with Jed Spence these last 3-4 months. He's technically really good. He's 19 years of age. He's got the physical levels for the Premier League. He can outrun everybody, which is so important in the Premier League. He's got the technical levels, the intelligence. He's only going to get better. He's doing it in an underperforming Spurs side. If he was doing this for Brighton, everybody would be saying Bergvall's a 60 plus million pound player. If he was doing this for Brighton, the perception of Bergvall would be so different. You'd see Chelsea putting bids on him, Man United putting bids on him. I think Bergvall is already worth more than 50 million pounds. To Tottenham, they might see him worth 80, 90 million. I'm not saying he's worth that much yet, but that's his importance to Tottenham because of his potential. But loads of people said that Bergvall wasn't a 50 million pound player and he's 20 million at best, which I think is crazy because I think him and Hoyson have probably been two of the best youngsters in the league this season. Archie Gray's been good. And I had loads of Arsenal fans get annoyed that I ranked Bergvall higher than Wanyeri when I did a list of the best kids in the Premier League this season. But Wanyeri, the last 2-3 Premier League games, he's been very quiet, hasn't done much. I think Wanyeri's got one of the highest ceilings of football. I think he's excellent. But Bergvall starting week in, week out for Tottenham, being one of their most important players. Wanyeri stepped up and been better than Sterling and brighter than Martinelli, but he's still so raw that, he'll be on the bench when Saka's fully back. And I've got Arsenal fans that got annoyed with me the other week for rating Bergvall higher than Wanyeri. But Bergvall's playing week in, week out. Wanyeri's playing a lot and he is great and he could be better than Bergvall in the future. He's got a higher ceiling, more attacking position. But I feel like there's a massive disrespect towards Bergvall because he's at Tottenham. And Tottenham was 16th. I think they're like 14th now. I feel like, I don't know, people give me stick with Bergvall. Let's get into the Chelsea game. This lineup stinks. Let's be honest, this isn't a good lineup. I mean, Moises Caicedo's fantastic. Chelsea's best player this season. I do rate Chalobah. Reece James is good, of course. But Christopher and Cuckoo, honestly, that was one of the worst performances I've seen. And I watch Rasmus Højlund every week. But at least Rasmus Højlund tries. Chelsea, look, they're still on track for Champions League football, but they're only holding on. Because Chelsea haven't been convincing, even in their wins, even in their draws. City aren't great. Newcastle and Villa, I think, are a threat to City and Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea are convincing. And when I look at this lineup, does Maresca want Champions League? Seriously, that's not a lineup that screams, I want Champions League football, is it? It's not. It's not. So, I mean, it's not like you're playing PSG like Aston Villa are. You're playing, was it Warsaw? I don't know why he was resting. And Cuckoo was just poor. Not just technically, but just looks like he doesn't care, wasn't running, wasn't moving, his touch, effort. He didn't want to be there in Cuckoo. He should have gone in January. Whether he plays, I think he is best as a 10, but poor. Jackson's a bigger miss than he gets credit for. I think Chelsea lacked the movement and threat without him. He's obviously just coming back and you've got to be careful with him, to be fair. And, he's not the finished product, Jackson. He's not the best box striker. He's not the most clinical player, but he brings so much more to Chelsea than anybody else that I think he was a big, he's better than Nkunku. Sancho offered very little again. Looks like the same version of Sancho we saw at United, jogging past with playing backwards. Just not, I don't know. Sancho's a confidence player. I think his confidence gone. He seems to have moments where he shows what he can do and then he drops off. Gusto, one of the best right backs last season, dropped off massively. Caicedo, unbelievable. Caicedo is just a different level. Reece James is a different level of player, but and I think Jackson gets way too much stick, but I do think you want a box striker because that's what Maresca wants. You probably would want an Osimhen. But it was a very uninspiring performance from Chelsea. I thought it was a game of nothing. I think Palmer was going to the left 8. He's so much more dangerous on the right 8 where he can cut in and have those shooting angles and he's not scoring. And I think he needs to go back to the righter side. I think Maresca should have gone with a stronger lineup. Brentford's a tough game. Why are you playing Warsaw, not PSG? Why are you resting? Does he not want UCL football? I felt like Chelsea never played to win. I felt like Chelsea looks like a team that was 12th and was going to finish 12th and had nothing left to play for this season. Not Champions League football, not European football. They didn't look like they were fighting for it, to be honest. I thought you were better in the second half, not by loads, but the subs helped. But I think the game was flat. I think it was just a bit of a dead game. You lack the ideas, you lack the urgency, and that is 2 points dropped to the UCL race. I know Brentford is a tough place to go, but you've got tough games like Fulham coming up. You've got Man United again, and I'm not saying that we're going to be a tough game for you, but there's games coming up, to be honest, and I think Chelsea could struggle. These were my broader takeaways, although I forgot to make the screen bigger, so I'm just going to read them out here. You are improving defensively, just 1 goal conceded in the last 5 games. But you still are lacking the goals going forward. Your problem is going forward. We know that Chelsea need a goalkeeper, but you've got loads out on loan. We know that you need to replace Thiago Silva. Fofana can't stay fit. But you need another winger, I think, maybe. I know, but then Esteval is so good. I think he's going to be, top, but is he risk? You definitely need attacking reinforcement. I just think right now you might be better in the Europa League next season because you played the start of the season so well. And then the drop-off, I think, showing that maybe Chelsea aren't quite ready for Champions League football yet. And that's not a bad thing. You win the Europa League, you win the trophy, you get back into the Champions League. Because Champions League will be difficult and it'll be hard to rest and rotate players. And you have a big squad you like to rest. But if I'm Chelsea, I'd go for Champions League football because of the financial place you're in, the pool you can get to bring players in. But you kind of look exhausted, and you have for a while. It feels like you were really good, and then I think since Christmas you've been dragging it a little bit. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.